I'm live. Ah, all right. Channel. Go to that so I can see the chat. Sweet. All right. Let's do. Copy. Here. As well. All right. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. All right. All right. So I only posted in 3 groups. So anyone else, if you feel like sharing it, cool. If not, all good. So primarily today, I just want to work on the brickwork that's on here, this side, and here. Since I got the brown base coat for the wood done, I figure I might as well do the base coat for the bricks. Using my new wet palette that I built. I'm just going to dive in. So for the base coat, I'm using Apple Barrel Tuscan Red. Watering it down a little bit on the palette. Kinda made it, Netta. You're all you gotta do is sit there and watch. You don't even have to use your feet. Almost wish I could do music in the background while I'm doing this stuff. That's why I like Hangouts better. Is there's the conversations that happen, going back and forth. For this one, I should use a bigger brush. Oh, okay. That makes sense then. Not like I'm doing anything super exciting. I'm painting brick. So, we use this brush. Wish there was a way I could actually do like a head cam, like a point of view camera, and make it a little bit easier. Basically, I'll get the red painted on here, and then I will, once it's dry, I'll pick out individual bricks to add some other color, and then do a wash over the whole thing to dinge it up a little bit, make it to where it'll match like the broken shingles and all that. And then I did a LED test on the inside. So once I find the correct LEDs to use, I can actually make it look like there's lit fire or candles or something inside each of the rooms. So that's kind of cool. I won't have to cut out and put in plastic windows and do all that. My oldest asked if I was going to add any tagging to these things. So I was like, I don't think they did a lot of tagging back in the medieval times. And he's like, well, it's D&D. Maybe you get some punk elves or something that want to stake their claim. Monday and Thursday, so to figure out. Oh, okay. Cool thing about this is these are all individual bricks. So if I thin the paint down enough, it'll actually flow down in between them and add its own shading. So, hang on one sec. Come here. What?
I'm wondering if
Wash dishes. Very simple. The joys of it being a true live stream is interruptions by the children. Told them I was doing a live stream, but my youngest does not like to listen. Told him an hour ago he needed to wash the dishes so that when I'm done here I can make dinner. Comes out and says, hey, what do I need to do? Blah, blah, blah. And wash the dishes. Trying to keep this aimed where y'all can see it. So I watched a few different videos and techniques on doing brickwork. And there was one guy who did all this expansive brickwork, and it was really cool. And then he took plaster and covered parts of it up so it would look like a broken stucco wall over brick. I'm not doing that. But it was cool. There's a lot of different techniques out there to get this all done. And you can kind of see even the bricks themselves, the individual ones, are kind of taking the color a little different. So, each window. Luckily, brickwork is not difficult to paint. Obviously, just a pain in the butt to lay down and do individual bricks. So, what gets me is all these little bricks in here that I'm gonna have to do as well. Yeah, me too. This is it's one of my favorite colors. I've used it before for making brick roads. I did a diorama for my aunt who's a big Wizard of Oz fan. And there's the part where it's a yellow brick spiral around the red brick spiral. So it was interesting. I keep hearing cars outside, and I'm hoping that one of them is my Amazon delivery vehicle, because the last update I had was that my airbrush would be here before 8 o'clock today. Well, it's 6:15. It's still not here. So we shall see if it actually shows up today or if it shows up tomorrow and I don't get to touch it until after work on Sunday. So figure I'll at least get the brickwork going today. Then on the next one, we'll do any touch-ups on those when I also do the next layer on the wood. So it's not a fast process to get this all done the way I want to and be able to show it off to you guys. But the drawback of having a day job with a messed up schedule, there are days when I've actually put more into travel time than I have into actual work time. Hell, I'm just a cook at a bar. So here, and a gap in there. Wash will take that, black that out. Yeah, the chimney, I'll paint up that color to begin with, and then I'll be doing black dry brushing on the top to kind of make it look used. And since it's more out in the weather, I will be discoloring it more. I'll probably add some moss growing up in this area and down the sides. I've been looking at pictures of chimneys and roofs and stuff that have been well weathered. So trying to match up how they look is going to be interesting. Now the stonework around the door, I'm going to do a different color. It's not going to be the red, so it'll stand out a lot more. Trying to get this base coat in all the little nooks and crannies around this door. There we go. Yeah. I'm digging using this wet palette. That is, it keeps the paint nice and wet, thins it just enough. Works good. Surprised I've never done that before. Still, in the grand scheme of things, very new. Hey dude, what's going on? Starships and Steel, one of my new favorite channels. I swear I am discovering more and more YouTube channels as time goes on that I didn't know you guys did, so that's pretty sweet. I am extremely amateur when it comes to doing YouTube, so that's one of the main reasons I'm doing live streams rather than record a video, edit, do all the fancy intros and all that kind of stuff. One is time. The only time I really have to do any crafting or anything is Tuesday. I don't know where Anthony is. I sent him the link. He subscribed to my channel, so I figured he would be here. But he does do commission. He's got some heavy duty commissions he's working on, and he's also taking care of his niece, I believe it is. So he gets kind of busy. But yeah, so anyway, I don't really have the time to put into building a cool intro or editing the videos or anything at this point. But I do know how to point my phone, hit go live, and then just kind of watch my laptop for the chat. So live streaming, unfortunately, is a lot easier. And if I mess something up and go, oops, everyone's gonna see it. I think that's the only drawback to YouTube videos is you don't get really to see where they messed up and how they overcame it, or if they just started over. So with me, see it all. I got overbrushed here. I got some red on the wood, and that's okay. It'll add a little more color to the wood when I start the detail brushing on that. Almost done with that part. Okay. Yeah, so that's the base coat on all the brickwork, except for the chimney. Oh, not as much as you would think. I used, basically I took one of these, about halfway full of paint, and then I put in a little bit of Mod Podge and a little bit of water to thin it down a bit and mixed it all up. So this ended up being about 3/4 of the way full, which wasn't bad. I don't even know how much this holds, but yeah, it didn't take much. Mostly it was just taking my time to get into all the little nooks and crannies that he built into this thing. Because if you thin your paint properly, it goes a long, long way. That's the one thing I'm also discovering, the beauty of using a wet palette, which, yeah, Mod Podge, brown, and a little bit of water, is a Walmart sandwich holder, a couple of sponges, and a sheet of parchment paper. That's all this is. Add water, put the paper down. Just for those who have, like me, not used one. And man, it is a paint saver, because by the time I was getting halfway through with one of the walls on this, my paint would start drying out. And like Black Magic Craft. So by doing it on the wet palette, it is not drying out, and it is definitely keeping me from having to consistently put more paint on the palette. Yeah, I use a lot of Mod Podge. It helps with keeping everything glued in place, makes everything a little more solid, not as breakable. It does cut down a lot. And like I said, depending on how wet your wet palette is, it automatically thins the paint down for you, so it spreads better. It gets in all the little nook and crannies, and definitely goes a lot further. So I'll be painting, dry brushing some black up on here, make it look like soot. And I should be able to get LEDs up through. I'm at least going to get them in the main rooms on the bottom, especially around where the fireplace would be. Let some light show through there. Got this one. It's a green one. So this isn't the LED pack I'll be using, but put it in there. I'm not sure how much light it'll show through. Let's see. Yeah, so it shows through a bit, so you can kind of see how it glows in the windows. But I'll be using yellow, hopefully flickering LEDs to make it look like firelight or candlelight. And I'll just mount the switch up in the bottom here. And then I'll have to run some of them over to this window on the underside. So mount them in here, run it through to here, and to here. So either side of this big one, and then up here. And that way I can get everything ran through. So that's what the brickwork looks like so far. Not too shabby. So I think what I'm actually going to do next is, I want to do the wash now. Because I'll be doing two different kinds of washes. One, I'll be doing a really dark wash to go over the wood. And then I'll be doing, and this is going to sound really crazy, a white wash over the brick. So that'll kind of look as if the mortar, spread over the bricks. So also give the mortar effect between the brick. So a black, essentially a really dark brown to black wash, and then the white wash over the brickwork. All right. Now for this guy. Get to where you can actually see what I'm doing here. So next on the door, I want to do the stones on the outside a different color. I don't want them to be red. What color do I want to do? Let's do some desert sand. I guess that'll work. There. Pull out the smaller brush and use that. Yeah, I like the green. I like the creepy effect, and if it was my tavern and it wasn't going anywhere and I was keeping it, I would probably do something like that. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So just slowly get these stones painted in. And this will probably take multiple coats because I did the black base coat on them, which is fine. I want them to look good. One of the drawbacks of using my headset and my phone to do this is that when notifications go off, it is extremely loud. I'm kind of ignoring the notifications right now. good. Let me stand out from the red brick. Really tempted to find a playlist of music that I can play on my laptop that is royalty free. That way I can play it in the background while I'm doing this and not get nicked by YouTube for playing unlicensed music. So if any of you know of a good playlist, feel free to message me later and let me know. Because this quiet is just killing me. Too hasty here. A little bit of red mixing in. We should let that dry up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to let that dry up. Stuff around the edges. Typing is one thing. I like to hear the music. Gunmetal gray. He's got these bandings across the door here. So I'm going to start off with the gunmetal gray. Sorry, my laptop decided it was going to go to sleep mode for whatever reason. I'm going to just go straight off the cap for this. Thank you, Anne. Ding, ding. See how that looks on camera. Come on, load up. All right. So that's got that. I think. another set, another door over here. No handle on this one, but not too shabby, not too bad at all right now. So you can see this one's kind of blank. I'd taken the screen out of it and set it to the side. I'm actually going to do that with all the windows. I don't want to accidentally get any paint onto these as I'm doing the window sills. There we go. But yeah, these just kind of pop out. I can set them off to the side, keep them nice and clean. Okay, do this. I'm going to do a test wash on this. Alright, dropper bottles, if you don't have an agitator in them to keep everything shaken up and cleaned out, they will jam. And they were a pain in the ass. I'm waiting on agitators to show up for me to put into here. Still nothing, so I have to... Okay. This sand type color. I don't want to do straight up water to thin it down, so I use this Lamian medium from Citadel. It thins it out without diluting the pigments too much. So it's still got kind of that gel texture to it. Once I've got that, I take, where'd my water go? There it is. Dilute it with plenty of water. I just want to kind of give it a coating of pale and then sink in. And if this doesn't work, well, I can always redo it. Perfect. Really translucent. You can still see through it when it's on there. So it's just going to add a shade of color of white. Do this little bit here. And it's kind of an experiment in non-black wash. So unfortunately, it is seeping the red in a little bit over on this side, so that's not a big deal. It's a little, you don't want everything to be a uniform color. Bricks were never perfectly uniform in color. There's always some changes. You can kind of see. Now you like to dab out the drainage, so to speak. Bring it back up to the top. And that way, it'll tone down the red, and when it dries, it'll just almost a whitewash effect. It's actually a technique from my sister. She does refinishing of old wooden furniture, and she does a lot of whitewashes on some furniture, roughs it up, and puts the base color down, and then does a very similar to what I'm doing here, just really watered down white paint. Brushes it on, lets it sit for a little bit, but then she goes back and brushes it all off, whereas I just kind of blot it with the brush. And it's okay to get it on the wood because I'll be doing a dark wash over that. Alright. I've only been going for 40 minutes, really. Now I gotta sit here and let stuff dry. Alright. See if I can't get some music playing. Royalty-free music sites every year should know. Okay, let's see how that works. Get some tunage running. Search function on here. This one's kind of cool. Let's get some. And I'll mute my YouTube. Go back to that. Alright, so this is apparently all I get is a little sample. Composer Rick Dickert called Neon Groove. That's kind of neat. I'll definitely have to start looking into more of this stuff. Alright. Yeah, so it doesn't do much. It's just a very light coating. It adds a little bit of variation to the color. So the trick is, if you want to do more is I will actually have to have this sitting up right like this so that it all goes into the grooves and adds more color. Towel here. By doing it this way, it's actually just, like I said, it's going to soak straight down rather than streaming down the wall. Woohoo, I still have people watching. That's amazing. I wonder if any of them are Anthony. But the coolest thing I've learned about washes is you do any color. I've done a blue wash on a mini that I was doing for a friend of mine, and it turned out pretty cool. I was doing a frost giant type look, like a frost giant relative, so to speak, because he was only an orc. But he wanted him to have the blue tinge of a frost giant, so I made up a blue wash. It worked really well. Anything you think is that is going to accent and highlight the effect you're going for. Like here, this is a whitewashed brick. So hopefully, I don't want to move it just yet. Hopefully it works out correctly. Yeah, brown muck wash. What's fun is I want to try it, but I don't have any appropriate miniatures. Is I watched a YouTube video a while back about using metallic washes on futuristic miniatures. And it's something I want to try because I think it'll look kind of neat if you do the base coating right. So, got my mom messaging me. You off work? Well, kind of. Phone fail. I get that all the time. So, alright, let's see if I can do this. Give you guys a sneak peek here. Yeah, I think they would. The way it looked was they used a kind of a almost like gunmetal gray, but a little bit darker. And the way they had the miniature painted, it was really bright silvers and golds. And so it all went into all these nooks and crannies, and it was almost like a grungy metallic look, where all the pieces meshed. So it's pretty neat. Oh, thank you, Netta. hopefully I'll get all the brickwork done that way, and then I can start, I'll start in on the wood, get that washed, and then I'll start with the highlights and LED work. So I'm definitely going to let the washes do a lot of the work for me. But I think we're going to go ahead and cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off here. I'll do the rest of the brickwork off camera, and then when we come back, I'll show you what I've done there, and I'll probably go ahead and do the black wash, the dark wash on the wood as well, off camera, just that way I can do more work and not have as much drying time on camera. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that all off camera, and then when we come back next time, hopefully Sunday, I'll be able to do it. If not, late night after work one of these days. That's part of my work schedule that I hate, is the fact that it's right in the middle of everyone's early afternoon, evening. So it sucks, but yeah. So after I get all the washes done, I'm going to do all the detailing touch-up work, add the LEDs, and and then do the shutters, because he sent those for me as well. So I appreciate all you guys showing up, and if I get a chance, I may do a hangout later. I got a bunch of minis I'm painting, and I need adult conversation. My wife's closing tonight, so. But yeah, so you guys take care. I will see y'all later. Do, 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 do.